I have been reading Chainsaw Man for years now. I'm caught up with part 2, and it's one of my favorite pieces of media. I'd like to think that I'm pretty well versed in understanding the story and its symbolisms. I've even made a video on it before, but it's clear to me now that after watching the Chainsaw Man movie, maybe I didn't understand the arc in the manga as much as I thought I did. And in no place was that more true than with Reze, a character that in the source material I never could understand the hype for. Yeah, she was cool and all, but so many people loved her, and some would even call her their favorite character in the series, but I couldn't get behind it. It just didn't make sense. Having now watched the movie 3 times, the reading comprehension devil is gradually beginning to leave my line of sight, and I'm finally starting to understand why she is so loved. Originally, she's sent on a mission from the Soviet Union to steal his heart away, as is a common goal of many people in the Chainsaw Man universe. They meet in the rain, which we learned could have been caused by the Typhoon Devil. The situation is perfect for Reze as she is in a close and confined space with Denji. In the manga, you can clearly see her reach into her back pocket to grab something, but she stops because of Denji's magic trick. This something in her pocket we find later on is more than likely this knife that she uses to stab Makima. In the movie, she had her hand on her neck, which implies she may transform to kill Denji. In both mediums, it's clear her intent, originally in that phone booth, is to complete her mission and kill Denji on the spot. Yet, for whatever reason, she doesn't go through with it. So she seems to devise a new plan. Her goal now is to get close to Denji, eventually kill him, and take his heart. This one would work, right? So as a part of fulfilling her mission, she elected to try and get to know more about him. All is going according to plan, especially when she brings him to a school, which was a perfectly confined empty space since it was at night. Here, she could kill him and finish her plan, right? On my first watch through, I noticed a spider eating a butterfly. A clear analogy that many people picked up on and showed up occasionally in the movie. It wasn't in the manga, so I assumed it was meant to cue people in watching that Reze wasn't all that she seemed to be. However, on my second watch, I realized I had it all wrong. This butterfly the spider was eating is a monarch butterfly, a type known to be poisonous to whoever eats it. For a spider, it would likely kill them, and that's why the last time we see the spider, it's not moving anymore. This is still symbolic, but for reasons we probably didn't expect, and it can be read 2 different ways. The first, Denji is a monarch butterfly, and while Reze is a spider, when she dives in to eat him, he will poison her heart, a roundabout way of saying she will fall in love with him. Or, the second way it can be read, Reze was the butterfly, and Denji was the spider. The entire film is her slowly and gradually falling into a web of love for Denji, reinforced when their fight ends in the movie when Denji wraps her with this metaphorical web of his and pulls her into the ocean. She is an assassin who fell in love with her target. How? How did someone who is a top trained assassin from the Soviet Union fall for her target, in turn jeopardizing her entire mission and possibly her life? Well, a big contributor is that Denji and her are 2 sides of the same coin. Denji was an orphan who later was raised very poorly under the Yakuza, had awful conditions to grow into, fused with Pochita to become a hybrid, and now that he is grown up is being exploited by the Japanese government and Makima. Reze was an orphan who was abducted by the Soviet Union, likely had awful conditions to grow into, presumably was experimented on, and turned into a hybrid against her will, and now that she has grown up is being exploited by the Soviet Union. Throughout the movie, when she learns how public safety treats him, and how he was brought up, she shows genuine care because she knows exactly what he has gone through. Because of this, over time, she lets her guard down more and more to let him in. At the school, a thread of the story begins where she wants to help Denji. When she said, "I'll teach you everything in the pool," she wasn't lying. Not only does she teach Denji some math and some language, she also teaches him how to swim. Later on, she hits the same exact pose as she did in the pool when she's the bomb devil, and she says, "I'll teach you how we do battle." By this, she means how hybrids should fight. The entire fight together, she is using her powers in all types of interesting and dynamic ways, and she encourages Denji to do the same instead of wildly swinging his chainsaws around. We learn later on that she was likely holding back, but because of this, in turn, he learns how to send out and retract the chains on his chainsaws. I think it's a super interesting parallel because it's built up, as right before Reze and Denji begin fighting, we see Aki sparring with other devil hunters. Although the most important thing that Reze teaches him is what love is. What it actually is. Denji thought that he had experienced love through Makima, but that love was misplaced. Not only is she grooming him, but he felt those feelings so strongly for her because no one had ever actually really cared for him before. Since they were new and unknown, he mistook it for love. Every chance she can, Makima strings him along to make his feelings potentially stronger for her, and when they go on their date to the cinemas, it's one-sided. Not only is a day-long movie marathon way too much for a first date, they see movies that only she wants to see, and after every film we only see what she has to say about it. Never Denji. We know how he feels from his internal dialogue, but they never really interact at all while they're on their date. Makima is being completely selfish the entire time because she doesn't care whether Denji is having a good time or not. With Reze, none of that is ever present. She interacts with him and teases Denji, she has a genuine desire to help Denji instead of to use him, and whenever she offers something to do, it's something she makes sure Denji wants to do too. Makima tries to force a connection, while Reze builds a connection with Denji. It's no wonder that despite him feeling he loves Makima, that he offers and desires to run away with Reze. His time with Reze is some of the only time he actually gets to experience what it's like to be in a relationship, and it's even more fitting as their hug on the beach is a replica of the hug from the film that made Makima cry. Denji is getting to experience real affection. Although Reze isn't the only one who is teaching in this film, as Denji helps her learn about many kinds of things that are likely very foreign to this Soviet child soldier. The first being kindness. The moment Denji sees her crying, he spits back up a flower that he ate to give to her and cheer her up. We learn that she has never gotten to go to school, so through her date with him she was able to gain an experience she never got to have. She gets to go hog wild with her powers, evident by her laughing during their battle. But the most important thing she gets to learn, and this is from being with Denji, is freedom and love. She gets to work at a coffee shop instead of the government. She gets to go to a festival and eat cotton candy, and she gets to experience what it was like to love someone. When she asks Denji to run away with her at the festival, she isn't faking that. It's genuine. She really does want to run away with him. She has finally gotten to experience freedom, and she doesn't want to keep being a tool for the government. She wants to be a country mouse. The time she spends with him is magical, and she doesn't want it to end. There are scenes that are exclusive to the movie where on rewatch, you kind of feel like she's questioning if she should go through with her mission, like when Denji leaps in the pool or when she's alone in the bathroom. You can even tell she knows she should never ask something like that from her big pause before she asks him and her constant fidgeting. This isn't something Denji sees, this is put entirely in for us, the audience, to see. After all, it's completely against her mission and will put a target on both of their backs from her home country. When he says no to her and she dumps to him liking someone else, her biting his tongue off and then beginning her mission again are all responses to rejection, something she's likely never had to process before, especially with someone who she has a large connection to, which is why her reactions are a bit extreme. It's this longing for freedom and connection between the two of them that makes the pool scene all the more special and tender. Two people who have had awful lives and are used one night get to be completely open with someone, quite literally bearing everything and playing together as if they were getting to live out a part of their childhoods that they never got to. It's been revealed as of October 29th, 2025 that the Reze Arc was inspired by the 1995 film Before Sunrise, and knowing this makes total sense. During daylight, the two instantly click and grow ever more romantic towards one another. At night, they experience some of their most romantic and sensual moments at the school and the festival. Then, the two get to further understand each other as they fight and later fall into the ocean with each other. With one last hug as the sun rises, with Reze having filled her mission now, it marks the end of their time together. For a couple of nights, they were truly free. For a long time, I wondered what the purpose of the scene with the candied apple getting crushed meant. And then I found the poem First Love by Shimazaki Tosan. This poem takes place in an apple orchard, with a young girl giving the speaker of the poem an apple to symbolize innocent love. In the film, a young girl holds a candied apple that falls to the floor and is squashed, which I imagine is meant to be a nod to this poem. Denji and Reze have their first love. Up until this point in the film, it has been cute, colorful, and full of youthful whimsy. However, when the apple is crushed, it marks a stark change in the tone of the film. Later on, when Denji pulls her to the bottom of the ocean, she doesn't even try to fight it. We saw earlier that she is absolutely capable of detonating bombs in liquid, yet here she fully accepts the possibility of dying in the water. in Denji's arms. The tragedy to it all is that when it's all over, they both still desire to be with each other. Denji couldn't shake his feelings he had for Reze, so even after she tried to kill him several times, he decided he wanted to run away with her. Reze clearly realizes she feels a strong connection with Denji, but she can't stay. Even though she failed her mission, even though she knows that going to him will be the end of her life, the moment she gets a flower, you can tell by her expression that their first time together runs through her head. The first time they met, Denji gave her a white flower to symbolize innocence. When she gets the flower here, it's red with passion to symbolize romance. It is at this moment that she realizes she is in love with Denji. She had completely shown who she was to him, flaws and all, and he had witnessed firsthand how many people she had killed, that she was a monster, and yet even still, he wanted to run away with her. She wants to be with him and to be free. Her desires are palpable. She wants so badly to run away with him. This outcome was foreshadowed earlier in a scene exclusive to the movie, when they enter the school and the painting Daphnis and Chloe shows up. A painting made by Francois Boucher about the Greek story of Daphnis and Chloe. This story revolves around a boy, Daphnis, and a girl, Chloe, who were both abandoned at birth. In time, the two find each other and fall in love, but don't know exactly what they're feeling because of inexperience. The two go through heavy hardship together and grueling events, which happens to anyone in a story by the Greeks. However, in the end, they fully realize their love together, getting married and living the rest of their lives out in the country. We see this painting as the two enter the school together, holding hands, which should be an immediate nod to anyone familiar with the painting how this story is going to end, especially so when the analogy of the country mouse and the city mouse comes into the story. Aesop's fable between the country mouse and the city mouse comes to play a crucial detail in the end. As while Denji wishes to stay in the city and to be the city mouse, and Reze wishes to go to the country to be the country mouse, they both flip on this desire. Of course we know Denji asks her if she'll run away with him, confirming that he's ready to leave this city and become the country mouse. And it's here, when she's about to board the train, that Reze hesitates to go to the country, to run away, and goes back into the city to find Denji. Her breaking out into a full sprint, ultimately to never reach him, showing us that the life of a city mouse was in fact more dangerous after all. Reze lies on the ground, realizing that she'll never get the chance to be a country mouse, dying as a city mouse. The painting of Daphnis and Chloe, while foreshadowing to them realizing their feelings, was a bait, as this is the exact opposite of what happened to those two. Unlike Daphnis and Chloe, Denji and Reze will never get to realize their love for each other. They will never get married, and they will absolutely never get the chance to move to the country. What makes this all the more heartbreaking is the last thing they both see, that being each other's backs. When Reze leaves the beach, Denji can only watch her leave. When Reze bleats out in the hall, she can only sit and watch Denji from afar. They never get to see each other face to face again. To top it all off, the thing that solidified how much I realized I had missed with this arc is the ending credits song Jane Doe by Kenshi Yonezu and Hikaru Utada. Jane Doe, for those unaware, is a name given to a woman with no identity or who is completely unknown. Just like Denji, we only knew her for a brief time, and truthfully, we don't know a thing about her. We learn from Kishibe that she was an orphan raised into a weapon, but we don't know her age, we don't truthfully know her personality, and in fact, Reze may not even be her real name. I love Chainsaw Man. I've been reading it for years now, and I'm caught up with part 2. I thought I knew the source material through and through, but nothing could have prepared me for this film. Mappa added so much heart and expanded upon so many scenes that it ended up destroying me. It improved upon the manga in nearly every single way. I've been thinking about that festival scene, the pool scene, the ocean scene, the scene on the beach, and Reze running to Denji for months now. I can't get them out of my head. After years of thinking that Reze was just an okay character, I get it now. I wondered for so long why this arc was called the Reze Arc. Why not the Bomb Devil Arc? Manga fans refer to it as the Bomb Devil Arc. Why did Mappa choose to go with the Reze Arc? Now, I get it. This entire story is Reze's. Just like the spider analogy was trying to tell us, it's about her experiencing freedom, falling into a web of love with someone, and getting a glimmer of hope only to die. She is one of the best characters we've had in all of Chainsaw Man, and I mourn for what could have been between her and Denji. It doesn't help that Fujimoto has gone to draw multiple drawings of the two together, making his own kind of fanfiction headcanon of them going to elementary school, going to high school together, and then getting married. Diabolical. I hate you, Fujimoto. This movie has led me wanting to reread the manga to see if there was anything else I've missed, and I'm sure there was. I don't even know if I like my original video on Chainsaw Man anymore, even if they treat their animators like sweatshop workers. Thank you, Mappa, for delivering such an amazing movie for us. I can only hope that you'll let your animators see their families now.